Hit record here. Great, and we will go ahead and get started. So welcome to We're Hiring on Campus Jobs at SU. We're going to talk about student employment today. My name is Sharon Leary, and I'm the Student Employment Director in the Office of Student Employment at Seattle University. I use she, her pronouns.
And I'm Jenna Mole, and I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a financial aid counselor and the work study coordinator over in Student Financial Services.
Great. So today we are going to talk about what is student employment and what are some of the benefits of working on campus, why we think you should work on campus at SU or consider working. We'll talk a little bit about work study, so you have some of the basics there. We'll talk about student employment eligibility and what you need to know in order to work on campus, and how to apply to jobs. And I'll do a little Handshake demo so that you can see how we navigate Handshake, which is our job search platform to find on-campus jobs. Okay, so I want to just start off here by telling you something you probably already know. Hopefully you've seen this before, and this is Seattle University's mission. And our mission is to educate the whole person to professional formation and to empowering leaders for a just and humane world. And I want to call us to look at this as we get started today, because professional formation is in our mission. So Seattle University is invested in making sure that you are prepared for your career path, wherever that may go, wherever that may be, and that you have the opportunity to explore your strengths and your interests while you're here. And student employment is part of that professional formation. So it allows you the opportunity to gain skills and experience, to try new things, to explore career paths. We'll talk a little bit more about those specific benefits in a little bit. When we're talking about student employment, I want to make sure that we're clear that these are work opportunities that are provided specifically by SU in order to make sure that you can help finance your education and the cost of living expenses and related expenses to going to school. That we also intentionally design these work opportunities so that we know that you're gaining the valuable skills and competencies that we know are important in the world of work and what employers for post-graduation are looking for. So we're not just talking about any jobs or internships that you might get, but ones that are specifically provided by Seattle U. So in order to get us sort of started in thinking about student employment, we want to learn more from you about why you want to work on campus and what your thoughts are related to student employment. So we're going to start with a small group discussion. We'll do some breakout rooms. And I'd love for you to, in these small groups, it'll be about 4 students per room. I'd love for you to introduce yourselves first and foremost, right? And then answer these couple of questions. So it's, why do you want to work on campus? And share with your peers, learn a little bit more about that from them. What do you think are some of the benefits of working on campus? And then what types of jobs are you interested in and why? So jot these questions down because you're going to be kind of facilitating these groups on your own here. We're going to break you up. So about 4 to 5 students in a room. And we'll give you about 5 to 7 minutes or so to chat in your breakout groups. And then we'll call you back to the room. So I'm going to go ahead and create those rooms and then you'll be able to go in there. And again, introduce yourself and then answer these couple of questions so we can learn a little bit more from you about your interests related to working on campus. Okay. No, Jenna, you don't have to join a room. I mean, you can if you want to. Maybe I'll pop into one. William and Daphne, if you can jump into your breakout room, that would be great. And I'm gonna all right. Welcome back. Hope you had some good discussions. I'm gonna give it another minute, just make sure everybody gets back into the room. All right. So I think we've got everyone back. So I'd love to hear from you. If you can chat in, or if you'd like to raise your hand, go for it. But chat works as well. So I'd love to hear what you talked about in your groups. So why do you want to work on campus? Yeah, Zoe.
So in our breakup room, we kind of talk about how it will help us to have money during college, and also being able, like, having a resume after college.
Yeah.
More experience.
Absolutely. Yep. Those are good ones. So money while you're in college and then building your resume, getting experience. Absolutely. Yep. That's great. Paying for personal expenses. And flexible. Great. Yes, that's another one. Yeah. So that, because they're provided by SU, we know that you're college students and jobs are flexible. Also considering breaks and student schedules. Yep. What else? Looks like Cole got some thumbs up there. So while you're maybe chatting in some of the other reasons, let's also answer the next question. What do you think some of the benefits are of working on campus? There's obviously that money piece. And skills and experience was just mentioned. Also that flexibility in jobs, being close to the dorms. Yeah, so close to where you live if you live on campus. If you're a commuter, I mean, of course, it's also close to classes. Involvement with different programs. Yeah, so you're getting involved on campus. You're learning more about different programs on campus, getting to know staff and faculty and other students as well, meeting other students and creating connections. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And so while you're maybe chatting in any other benefits that weren't mentioned, we can answer the other question as well, which I'm personally just interested in learning more about is what types of jobs are you interested in? Maybe in the library. Yeah. Yep. The library jobs are fun. Lab work. Sure. So gaining maybe some more relevant experience. Definitely library. Okay. Maybe we have some book lovers here. One that allows you to do classwork while working. Well, that's not always allowed, but there might be some jobs that have some flexibility in terms of knowing what your schedule looks like and making sure we can schedule around that. Barista, yeah. So we have, jobs in dining and student resources. Yep. Good. Cool. Great. All right. Well, feel free to chat in anything else that comes to mind. And again, Jenna will be monitoring the chat. So if you have questions, we can answer those as well. But, we identified, of course, some benefits for working on campus based on what we've seen with our students. And you've named a lot of them here, right? So making money, working in convenient, student first and easily accessible environment, gaining and honing skills that you'll have for your resume and that we know are going to be useful in a wide array of career paths. Also, just getting to explore different career paths. You might try new things, learn new skills that you didn't know you really enjoy, and then that kind of sets you on a new potential career path. It helps you kind of figure out where you want to go. Maybe you'll do some research and realize that that research within your field is more of a direction you want to go in. You get to apply classroom learning. So things you're learning in the classroom, you get to apply at work in a real world setting, right? And then also you get to bring back what you're learning at work into the classroom. You have some more context for what you're learning about. Finding community was mentioned. So meeting peers, faculty, staff, just getting to know campus more and being really integrated into the community. And then what you may not have known or thought about is that actually all of this contributes to student persistence and academic and career success. So where you might be thinking that working adds things to your plate and might be difficult to manage, what we actually find is that students who have on-campus jobs actually have higher academic success rates, deeper connections to the campus community, higher graduation and persistence rates than students who might work off campus, and that our undergraduate students who work in college earn more after graduation than students who don't. So it might set you on a higher career trajectory potentially. So because, right, you are working in these very flexible environments, you're getting connected to the community, you're maybe needing to set up a routine and a schedule and creating some structure, and then also seeing how your work applies to what you're learning in the classroom, that actually all results in greater academic and career success. So that's a fun fact for you there. So let's transition into what our student employment actually looks like on campus, and what you need to know in order to work on campus. So you need to be enrolled, of course, and for our domestic students, for our students who are from the US, you need to be registered at half-time or greater in order to work on campus, and that is with the exception of academic breaks being spring, winter, summer. International students need to be registered full-time. That's just a requirement of the international student visa. You can work up to 20 hours per week during academic breaks. So again, winter, spring, summer, if you're not registered, if you're not taking classes in the summer, you can work up to 40 hours per week. Our pay rate is $18.69 an hour. And then while you can work up to 20 hours per week, I would say most of our jobs fit in the 5 to 15 hours per week range. So if you're trying to kind of estimate how much you might earn, that $18.69 times that like 10 hours per week average is a good estimate. Of course, also considering days off that might happen, etc. You can work multiple jobs on campus, but it's important to remember that you can only work 20 hours or 40 hours total. So that is across all jobs. There are remote and hybrid work opportunities available. So yes, some of our jobs are on campus. You have to be at a place at a time, but there are also options for working remotely and adding a little bit more flexibility to our on-campus opportunities. And then the last thing that you need to know is that you don't need work study in order to work on campus. You may have heard the term work study floated around either at orientation or in financial aid sessions, maybe when you were exploring college generally and other schools. So we want to cover a little bit more about what is work study, and I'm going to turn it over to Jenna for that.
Okay. So let's talk about work study. Some of you may have it, some of you may not. As Sharon said, you don't need it to work on campus, but we'll just kind of go over what it is and how do you know if you have it. So work study is a need-based financial aid program that encourages students to work on campus or with approved off-campus employers to earn money for their educational expenses. So need-based means that it's determined each year by the information on your FAFSA. Something to keep in mind is that it's an opportunity, not a guarantee of work or wages. And so that means there's no penalty for not using it. If you decide you don't want to work on campus your first quarter, you want to see how things go, that's totally fine. There is no penalty. It's also included as part of your financial aid offer. So if you're wondering if you have work study, you would want to sign on to My Seattle U, go to the financial aid section, and then My Awards. And it would be listed there. And you would be able to see what your total award is. You would see it as federal work study or federal/state work study. The state work study is for Washington state residents. Something important to note is that there's nothing you need to do to enroll. The award is auto accepted. The only thing you need to do in order to utilize it is to apply to jobs on campus. And you can apply to any job on campus. Sharon's going to go over how you find on campus jobs. It's a type of funding. It's not a type of job. So when you're looking for on-campus jobs, they're not going to say like work study job. You can apply to any on-campus job. And it's kind of different than other types of financial aid. So loans, scholarships, those types of aid are paid to your student account. Work study is paid to you through wages. So you have to be hired for a job and then you earn the award by reporting hours and earning a paycheck, and you're paid every 2 weeks. And you can use that money however you want to. Some students do use the money to like make a payment on their student account, but lots of other students use it for like educational expenses like books, supplies. But you can also use it for things like food or just, living in the city, going out with friends, things like that, anything you want.
And I'm muted. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what are some of the opportunities on campus. You told us some of the things that you're interested in. Those are certainly some of the opportunities that we have on campus, but I want to also share with you some of the things that maybe you hadn't thought of. So we'll start with jobs in university recreation, so, or we call it UREC. There's jobs as a fitness instructor, a personal trainer, or just member services, helping students who and faculty and staff who use the services, or even facilities related. There's also jobs in athletics, so things like ticketing, operations, media in athletics, and a lot of those types of things. We have jobs working in our gardens or grounds crew. And in addition to the gardens, there's also other jobs in facilities. So our grounds is part of our facilities team. So you can also work in the electrician area, or you can work in the vehicle shop, and lots of other areas related to facilities. You might not have been to campus yet, and so if you haven't, then you might not know that this is our library, but there were some ideas mentioned earlier about jobs working in the library, and that's certainly an opportunity. Peer research consultant is one of those jobs, as well as other jobs in like the maker space, or our writing center is located in the library, as well as our learning assistance programs, or a lot of our tutoring programs. So those are some opportunities, as well as other helping skills. So peer advising, or there's the International Student Language Center. So a lot of sort of helping skills, or even office assistant, which you might be supporting offices that need extra help. The housing and residence life has jobs as desk assistants and desk coordinators. So you're helping the students who are in those buildings. Dining services is another opportunity. Our dining services are actually managed by another company called Chartwell, but those are considered on-campus jobs, and you are eligible to work in those jobs. And we do have students working in both the dining service side as well as catering. There's jobs in campus ministry. So we have student campus ministers, as well as, again, support positions within campus ministry, or some of our other departments that support spirituality and Catholic thought. Research. So someone mentioned earlier lab related, and certainly there's lab work, or there's also research in things like criminal justice and in social work. There's clinical experiences. So lots to do that might be a little bit more directly related to your major or in your academic department. And then lastly, Rudy the Red Hawk is an on-campus job. So if you want to put on that suit and cheer with everybody, that is an opportunity, and you'll get paid for it. Okay, so you might be asking, when can I start applying, right? Like, okay, cool, Sharon and Jenna, thanks for telling me about these jobs. Now, what do I do next? So actually, you can start applying now. And you have access to Handshake, which we'll go over and do a little demo for. But you also can wait. So jobs are posted all year, and they're posted directly by our on-campus employers who do their own hiring. And so they're posting jobs depending upon their own needs. So you'll see new jobs posted throughout the year. So if you are applying now and you might not be getting a response yet, know that there will be more jobs, and also everybody's working on a different timeline. So there are opportunities throughout the year. If you are going to start applying now, you will need to get into Handshake and know how to find jobs. So I'm going to move away from my presentation for a second, so that I can show you what it looks like when you're a student in Canvas. Or in Handshake rather. So give me just a second here. Okay, so this is what Handshake looks like when you log in. This is the home page. In order to search for jobs, you're going to go to jobs. Once you're in jobs, there are a few different ways you can filter to find on-campus jobs. First, you can go to all filters and you see a button for on campus. So that is one quick way to find some jobs that are labeled on campus. Another way is to scroll down to employers in the filters and find Seattle University on-campus employment. So all of our on-campus jobs are posted through this one employer so that you don't have to find jobs posted by, 300 different employers across campus. They're all posted underneath one employer. So you want to make sure you select Seattle University on-campus employment and not Seattle University. Seattle University is where we post jobs for faculty and staff. So you're not going to find student jobs there. So make sure you're looking at Seattle University on-campus employment, show results. You'll see that right now there are 57 jobs posted currently, and you'll see a lot of things that we already talked about. So things like data analytics intern or working as an office assistant, mechanical shop assistant, so working in facilities, UREC, different coordinator, marketing assistant, so lots of different jobs there. One important hack is going to be for you to follow this employer. So if I click on Seattle University on-campus employment, or I can go to employers and I can search for the employer in the employers, I'm going to make sure that I click following or follow, and then make sure that you are following this employer. That way you will stay on top of all jobs that are posted through this employer. I've been following this employer for a while. If I go to my notification, let's see, you'll see that I have a notification every time a new job gets posted. So it's the best way to stay on top of on-campus jobs. There's a lot more I could cover in Handshake because Handshake is used as a job search platform for all jobs for Seattle U students. So that's off-campus internship, that's jobs post-graduation. But I'm just going to cover that today and head back to talking more about student employment specifically. So if you need help with your job search, you need help with your resume, your cover letter, maybe you want some interviewing practice, I would highly recommend scheduling a career coaching appointment with a career coach in the Career Engagement Office. If you're a business school student, Albers Career Center is also available to you. Also, outside of helping you navigate Handshake or find and apply to jobs and putting together great application materials, they can help you with things like career exploration, mock interview practice, preparing for post-graduation. So these are really great resources that I want to make sure that you take advantage of during your time at SU. We will have some links to both of these offices at the end of our presentation, but also if you use that QR code, it'll take you right to the Career Engagement Office website. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of the job opportunities, but you might be thinking, well, office assistant or working in the library or working as a tutor, how is that going to be helpful, right? You told me that we were going to be gaining skills that are going to be useful for any career path. So let's dig into these on-campus jobs and some of the career paths that you might be on, or some of the jobs that you might be thinking you want post-graduation, to identify what some of those skills are that might be relevant. So I want us to just start by thinking about, and I saw when we came in earlier that there were some nursing students here. So if you are going to be a nurse, right, what are some of the skills that are going to be useful to be a nurse? And I know a lot of us have probably interacted with nurses, going to, hospitals or doctor's offices. So when you go see a nurse, what are some of the skills that are useful or that you think take to be a good nurse? Please chat them in. Communication and interpersonal skills. Yes, absolutely. They have to communicate with a lot of different people, make sure that they're good at talking to people, friendly. What else? Attention to detail. Yeah, absolutely. You have to make sure that you know that you're giving people the right medication, you're paying attention to the timing of things, you are charting things accurately and sharing information accurately. Absolutely. Yep. What else? Time management. Yeah. I've seen those nurses have to move around from office to office, making sure you're spending your time wisely. Medical knowledge. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Yeah, you got to have that specific technical knowledge in medicine to be a good nurse. But also, even more broadly, just using technology. Yep. Organizational skills. Yes, absolutely. Keep yourself organized. Empathy and teamwork. Yeah. You got to work with doctors, with physical therapists, with occupational therapists, with nursing assistants. So you're gonna have to work with a lot of different people. So these are great ideas, and we came up with a few as well, and I think you mentioned all of them. So things like interpersonal and helping skills, communication, teamwork, just broadly customer service, right? Knowing how to provide service to a person, attention to detail, cultural awareness and sensitivity, I think, is important. You're going to have to work with a lot of different types of people and understand that we're all different. We have different needs and different ways of communicating and interacting. And of course, critical thinking. So this is not an exhaustive list, and you mentioned a lot of these things, but let's then take a step and think about, if you were working as a tutor on campus, what are some of the skills that you'd need to be an effective tutor, or maybe that you would learn being a tutor? Ideas? Emotional awareness. Good. Yeah. So empathy, emotional awareness, patience. Good. Yep. Of course, a deep understanding of the subject. You got to have that specific technical knowledge, and then you got to be able to communicate it. So just communication skills. Yep, absolutely. And what else? Active listening and organization, patience. Great. So yeah, so hopefully what you're seeing here is that a lot of the things that we just mentioned in terms of the skills that are needed to be a nurse are skills that you would use and grow as a tutor, right? So interpersonal and helping skills, communication skills, providing customer service, organizational skills. You got to make sure that you stay on top of all of your different appointments, and of course, working with different types of people. Good. So hopefully you're seeing the pattern here, but let's go ahead and do one more example. So I think we have some marketing students here, or maybe some art or design students. If you were going to be a graphic designer, what are some of the skills that you'd need in order to be a graphic designer? Creativity. Yep, absolutely. What else? Technology skills. Yes, for sure. Patience. I like this. I'm hearing a theme. Absolutely. You have to work with lots of different types of people and hear them out. Web design. Sure. Yeah. So specific technical skill. What else? Maybe attention to detail, making sure that the designs you're making are precise and that you don't have any mistakes, making sure that if you've got copy, that everything is spelled correctly, all of that good stuff, right? How about teamwork? You might be working with clients, making sure that that their vision is going to be executed. You got to use your listening skills, right? You might work with other people that are working on a broader marketing project and you're just the designer. So those are some good ideas there: creativity, communication, technical skills, attention to detail, teamwork. Great. Now, if you're an office assistant on campus, maybe you've looked at some of these job descriptions already. What are some of the things that you would learn or skills that you would use as an office assistant? Knowing how to use technology. Good. Yeah, it might not be the same technology, but having that ability to navigate technology and learn new tech is important. Yeah. Communication skills. Yep. Listening skills. Absolutely. You might be actually like working with people that come up to a desk. You got to listen to your supervisor and the team, make sure that you're doing the things that they're asking you to do. What else? I can say from the office assistants that I've worked in my office, I like to see attention to detail. A lot of organization has to happen because there's a lot of moving parts. Very good, William. Organizational skills. Yeah, absolutely. So again, right, a lot of the skills that we identified in order to be a good graphic designer, even to be a good nurse, right, are being used as an office assistant. So you have that opportunity to gain those skills, to work on those skills, to grow those skills, put them on your resume. And these are, it's not, being an office assistant is not nursing and it's not graphic designing, right? But it is still important and still relevant. So great way to build your resume. Another thing with this example to think about is Maybe you're a design student, an art student, a marketing student, and you're working in an office that probably needs or works on design, marketing, right? So how can you talk to your supervisor, see if there are ways for you to integrate some of the more technical aspects of your academic program into your job, right? So maybe you ask if you can get involved in the social media. Maybe you ask if you can design a marketing poster for an event that they have coming. Or maybe you just shadow a marketing person, right? So there are also opportunities for you to kind of enhance your jobs and apply some of the skills that you're learning specifically in the classroom or that you might need on your resume to go into the careers that you're interested in. So there's a lot of flexibility, room for growth, room for opportunity. The skills that we just mentioned are all skills within these competencies. SU has identified specific career and leadership competencies that we know that you are going to gain throughout your experience at SU and are important for a wide variety of career paths that you'd be going into. So we designed these competencies based on organizations like the National Association of Colleges and Employers, who works with employers that hire college graduates and college students as interns. And they ask them, what are the skills that you're looking for, right? And so these competencies or sort of categories of skills are what employers are looking for and what we want to make sure that you are gaining in your experiences at SU. And student employment is just one of those experiences, right? We just named a lot of these things: creativity, critical thinking, communication, teamwork, right? As things that you're going to gain. So I want you to just start to become familiar with this because you'll see it a lot. And you'll see a lot of other skills and words that you can use when you talk about your experience at SU and you think about where you want to go. So just providing this to you as a sort of introduction and to mention that, you know, you're going to see this quite a bit. And these competencies, you can be assured that you are going to learn during your time here. Okay, so transitioning from those jobs and how to get them and what they look like, what you're going to gain from those experiences. And let's fast forward to, okay, you got a job offer, exciting. Now what do you have to do? And there are some specific steps that you have to take in order to make sure that you can work on campus. So we want to make sure that you're aware of those things. Before you start work, so when you get a job, your supervisor will say, this is the day we want you to start work, right? So you'll have a start date. And before you start, so before that start date, you have to do some new hire paperwork. This part of this paperwork has to be done in person. And that is a government regulation. That's not a SU policy, that's a government policy. So we want to make sure that you know that you have to get that done in person. What that will entail is doing an I-9, a W-4, and a direct deposit form. These are part of that new hire paperwork, the paperwork that you have to do in order to get started. As part of the I-9, which is a government form that requires employers, us, Seattle U, to make sure that you are who you say you are. So we verify your identity and we also verify your employment authorization. And so in order to do that, we need to see in person your original, not photocopies, not photos, passport, or your birth certificate or your social security card and an ID or a driver's license. It could be your student ID. That would be fine. So what we need to make sure that you know now before you come to campus is that you need to bring these documents with you. Okay, so you need to bring either your passport or your birth certificate or your social security card, so that you can bring those to us before you get started so we can document those for your I-9. The W-4 is a tax form, and it just tells us what taxes to take out of your paycheck. And then the direct deposit form is so that you can receive your paycheck directly into your bank account, which is a lot easier than having to get paper paychecks mailed to you. That is an option if that's something that you prefer, but if you want to enroll, you'll need to provide us with your bank account information. You also have to submit this form even if you want to decline. So you'll get an email with all of this information once you get your job offer, but we want to just make sure you're aware of it now, so that you can come to campus prepared and with those documents that you need. For our international students who might be in the room here, there's a couple of additional steps that we want to make sure you're aware of. And there are some restrictions just because of visa requirements. So if you're an international student and you don't have a social security number yet, you will need to apply for one. And in order to apply for a social security number, you need to get your offer letter from your supervisor. You also need to get a letter from the International Student Center, from your immigration advisor in the International Student Center. You'll need to also make sure that you have your I-20 and that that's activated. You'll go and apply for your social security number and go to the Social Security Administration. And then once that's done, you can schedule your I-9 appointment, come see us, complete your paperwork. If you don't have a social security number, because all of those steps are involved, you cannot start work until September 30th. And our supervisors across campus are aware of that. It's well known, and it'll be okay. We'll get you set up and we'll get you started. If you're an international student and you already have a social security number, obviously you just skip the steps to apply for a social security number and you're going to complete your new hire paperwork with us. For those students, you just can't start work until September 20th. And that's because you can't start work until your I-20 is activated. And International Student Center does not do that until you actually come to campus and your program gets started. So making sure that our international students are aware that there are some extra steps in this hiring process, and you can always email us if you have questions. We are here to help, and that's for all students in this hiring process. We know that it's a lot of steps. There's a lot of paperwork involved. If you have questions, email us. We're here to help. All right, so as we kind of close up, I want to make sure you're aware of some additional upcoming events and some resources that are available to you. So next week on Monday, we are doing a panel event with some of our current student employees and supervisors on campus, so you can learn more from them about the student employment experience on campus, what supervisors are looking for, what types of jobs are available, and what students think about working on campus. So you don't have to hear from us anymore, you can hear from them. We also have an on-campus jobs fair in the fall. We have one in the spring as well. So keep your eyes out for that opportunity, give you an opportunity to meet some on-campus employers in person. If you're an international student, there is a welcome workshop that you have to attend before you can be eligible to work. So that is Wednesday, September 13th. Resources include the Student Employment Office website, the Career Engagement Office website, the Albers Career Center website, Student Financial Services if you have questions about work study, International Student Center if you are an international student, and then of course, get familiar with Handshake, bookmark that page, download the app, make your life a lot easier, and get familiar with all of those resources. With that, we have some time for questions. feel free to chat them in, raise your hands, let us know if you have any questions. And if not, then feel free to take off. Thank you so much for joining us. It was really nice to meet some of you. Thanks for your participation. And yeah, we'll hang out if you have any additional questions. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, have a great day. Thanks. Bye. All right, for those left in the room, any last questions? I was hoping to work in the student center dining hall. Don't see any jobs. So that's a great question, Olivia. No, those jobs are not full yet. Our Chartwell, they only just reached out about posting jobs, so they should be posting jobs soon if they're not already posted. But they will do a lot of that hiring in early fall. They don't hire anyone in the summer, so they will definitely have a push for hiring in the early fall. Yeah. All right.